is Jenna with Warhawk Fitness. Welcome to day 3 of your yoga workout series. So keep in mind for yoga, you want to make sure you have an open and wide space to practice, as well as a mat if you'd like to use that. And other than that, I hope you enjoy. So starting off at the top of your mat with your feet about hip distance apart, inhaling your arms up overhead, standing mountain, creating a slight arch in your lower back, gazing up towards your fingertips, spreading your fingers, dropping your shoulders. And then as you exhale, reaching down for your mat, coming into forward fold, keeping soft bends into your knees. You can also choose to grab onto your opposite elbows if you'd like, slowly rocking side to side, coming into ragdoll, finding an option that works best for you. And on your next inhale, choosing to place your hands either below or above your knees as you come into extended spine, creating a flat back. Pinching your shoulder blades back behind you, taking deep breaths. Exhale, placing your hands onto the mat as you bend at your knees, and then coming into plank. In plank, making sure your wrists are in line with your shoulders, creating a straight line with your body, making sure your hips aren't up too high or sinking too low. There should be a straight line from the crown of your head back to your heels. And now as you inhale, shifting your weight forward onto your toes, and exhale, chaturanga, slowly lowering down, leading with your chest. Once you reach your mat, flattening out both feet, and then pushing up into cobra. In cobra, opening up through your chest, stretching out your rectus abdominis, keeping soft bends in your elbows. You also have an option of coming down to sphinx, gazing out in front of you, finding your option. And now inhale as you curl both toes under, and exhale, pushing your hips up and back into downward facing dog, creating an inverted V with your body, working on pressing your heels down to your mat. You can come into some alternating heel presses if you'd like. And now bringing your presses to a stop, bending at your knees as you come into bear pose, making sure your shins are parallel with your mat or the ground, but still keeping your hips up in the air. Feeling some heat build into your quadriceps, continuing to breathe. Deep inhales and deep exhales. And returning back to downward dog. Shifting your weight forward as you come back to plank, and then slowly lowering down to your mat. Flattening out both feet, and once again pushing up into cobra. You can choose to stay here in cobra, or lifting your quadriceps up off the mat, coming into upward facing dog. Gazing out in front of you, balancing on the top of your feet, and lowering back down, coming into a tabletop position, taking a deep inhale, and then as you exhale, sinking your hips back to meet your glutes, walking your fingertips out in front of you, and placing your forehead down onto the mat, stretching out your rhomboids. Now returning back to tabletop, lifting yourself back up, and stepping your right foot in between your hands at the top of your mat, curling your left toes under, making sure your right knee is in line with your right ankle here, and then using your chest to lift yourself up into high lunge, stretching out your left hip flexor, working on your strength. You can also bring your hands to heart center or to the small of your back if that's more comfortable. Holding here for 2 rounds of breath. For another option, you can choose to lower it down, dropping your left knee down towards the mat, and then lifting yourself back up, straighten out your right leg, repeating this motion, going along with your breath. Inhale up, and exhale lower. Great work. And now returning back to high lunge if you're not already there. Lowering your arms and stepping your left foot in. Preparing for pyramid pose. So for option 1 of pyramid, placing your hands onto your quadricep, creating a flat back. Or choosing to place your hands on your shin or on your mat. Making sure both of your toes are facing forward. Taking deep breaths. If you'd like, you can either choose to keep a straight back or place your hands down in front of you and lower over your right leg, feeling a deep stretch in your right hamstring. You can also choose to switch between the different options, finding what works best for you. And now at this time, stepping your left foot back to the back of your mat, followed by your right foot, returning back to downward dog, and inhaling your right leg up towards the ceiling, and then bringing your right knee in towards your chest, and placing it down onto the mat, extending your left leg back, coming into pyramid pose, coming into pigeon pose, choosing to keep your chest lifted, staying onto your hands, or lowering down to your forearms, feeling a deep stretch in your glute, as well as your hip flexor. You can also choose to extend your arms long, placing your forehead down onto the mat, finding what works best for you. Holding here for 2 rounds of breath. And now placing your hands onto the mat if they're not already there, curling your left toes under, returning to downward dog. This time stepping your left foot in at the top of your mat, and using your core to lift yourself into high lunge, choosing your arm options, sinking low, keeping your chest lifted here. Remember your option of lowering down and then extending back up, working on your balance a little bit and your strength, working on bringing that right knee down towards your mat. Last one here. And now lowering your arms, stepping your right foot in, coming into pyramid pose. Again, choosing your hand option, feeling a stretch in your left hamstring. Again, making sure both of your toes are facing the front of the room. Now lowering your hands, placing them back down onto the mat as you return back to a downward dog. Maybe taking a few alternating heel presses. And then lifting your left leg up towards the ceiling and bringing your knee in towards your chest as you lower down into pigeon, extending your right leg long. Again, finding your option, feeling a stretch in your left glute and your right hip flexor. Holding here for one more round of breath. And now placing your hands onto the mat if they're not already there, and finding your way to tabletop on your hands and knees. Preparing for bird dog. So in bird dog, making sure your knees are in line with your hips, and your wrists are in line with your shoulders. And once you're ready, extending your right arm out, followed by your left leg, creating a straight line from your fingertips to your toes, really engaging your core, For another option, lowering your arm and just extending your leg. Or you can also choose to grab back onto your back foot and pressing your heel up towards the ceiling. Working on your breathing here in through your nose and out your mouth. Holding here for one more round of breath, maybe trying out another option. And now lowering back down. Maybe shaking out your hips a little bit in circles. Now getting ready for the left side. Again, making sure your knees are in line with your hips. Extending your left arm followed by your right leg. Creating a straight line from fingertips to toes. Or just extending your leg here. Or for a challenge, grabbing back onto your back foot. Finding a steady spot to focus on. And exhale, release, lowering back down to tabletop. At this time, coming onto your forearms. You can choose to interlace your fingers if you'd like. And then pressing up into a plank. Walking your feet in slightly as you push your hips up into dolphin pose. You can choose to stay here or come up into downward dog, finding your option. And now slowly lower back down onto your knees, sweeping your legs off to the side, not in front of you, coming into your stretch. So lowering down one vertebrae at a time onto your back. Inhaling your left foot up onto your right knee. And then reaching in between your legs as you grab onto your quadricep or onto your shin. Making sure you flex out your left foot, coming into eye of the needle. You can also choose to rock side to side. Gazing up at the ceiling, beginning to slow down your breathing. Getting ready for Savasana. Switching sides, doing the same thing with your right foot. Placing your hands onto your quadricep or onto your shin. Choosing to rock if you'd like. And now bringing your rocking to a stop, placing both feet down onto the mat. Choosing to stay here for your ending Savasana pose or extending your legs long. Placing your hands on the mat, on your belly, or at your heart center. Allowing any tension to release. Letting go of any negative thoughts or negative energy. And just taking this time for yourself. Remaining here in Savasana for about 5 to 10 more minutes. Allowing your thoughts to wander. Thank you so much for joining me for yoga today. Stay healthy and namaste.